Today we'll start with the nonfiction fact tracker on penguins in Antarctica, and we're going to learn more about Mount Erebus. Imagine a volcano that throws lava bombs. Imagine a volcano that has beautiful ice caves and hundreds of ice towers. This volcano exists on Ross Island in Antarctica. It is named Mount Erebus. The sides of Mount Erebus are covered with ice caves and towers. Heat and gases from the side of the volcano melt the snow and ice from above and form ice caves below. Steam coming from holes in the Earth's crust, called fumaroles, freeze into 60-foot ice towers. A large lava lake lies inside the volcano's crater. Scientists think it might be miles deep. Mount Erebus erupts several times a day. When it does, it spews out lava that hits the icy ground and explodes. The lava lands like a bomb. Some of these bombs are almost 10 feet wide. Researchers say the temperature inside the cave is always 32 degrees. That's warm for Antarctica. Visitors just have to be careful to duck those lava bombs. And here is the lava lake. Antarctica today. Most people who visit Antarctica go in the summer when it's warmer. Some of the visitors are tourists. Others are scientists and researchers. More than 20,000 tourists arrive by boat every summer. They travel with expert guides. There are no motels or hotels. They live on the ship. Whenever a ship stops, only 100 people can go ashore. This rule protects both the environment and the animals. Visitors to Antarctica see giant ice cliffs, mountains, and glaciers. They also watch thousands of birds and other wild creatures. They can even visit the huts that Scott and Shackleton lived in. They're researchers we'll learn about later. And while they're there, they breathe in the purest air on Earth. If you went to Antarctica, you would have to wear long underwear, sunglasses to protect against wind and bright sunlight, goose down pants and jacket, really warm boots with spikes to grip the ice, a camera with a waterproof case, waterproof gloves to keep out the water and cold, and extra warm socks. Would you be up for wearing all that? Here is the bus that they were talking about being on. Chapter 4, Happy Campers. Touching down onto a flat, snowy field was an orange and white helicopter. The helicopter had skis on the bottom so it could land on the ice and snow. The bus came to a stop at the edge of the field. "We must be going to the volcano in a helicopter," says Annie. "By air, just like the rhyme says Jack." "Great." Jack always wanted to fly in a helicopter. Nancy stood up. "For those of you getting off the bus now, please remember," she said, "the helicopter blades are extremely dangerous. Always wait for a signal from the pilot before approaching the chopper." Everyone watched as the spinning blade slowly came to a stop. The pilot waved from the helicopter window. "Okay, Pete says we can go," said Nancy. Jack put their rhyme back in his pocket. He pulled on his backpack. Then, carrying his notebook and pencil, he filed down the aisle after Annie and the others who would join them in the helicopter. They all scrambled off the bus into the dazing sunlight. "Jump aboard," said Nancy. Jack and Annie followed with 4 other adults up the steps of the helicopter and squeezed into the small cabin. Sitting in 2 rows of seats behind the pilot, everybody buckled their seatbelts. Nancy pulled the door shut and turned the latch. Then she sat next to Pete and put on a set of headphones. "Headphones on, everyone. They're under your seats," she said. "They'll protect your ears from the chopper noise and also serves as a radio so I can talk to you." Everyone reached under their seats and took out headphones. Jack and Annie pulled off their hoods. Without taking off their goggles or face masks, they placed the headphones over their ears. The thick pads muffled the sound around them. Jack heard Nancy's voice over the headphones. "Testing, 1, 2, 3. Can everyone hear me?" Everyone nodded. "Okay, Pete, take us to Mount Erebus." The pilot started the helicopter. Even with his headphones on, Jack heard the roaring of the engine and the spinning of the blades. He held his breath as the chopper trembled and lifted off the snow and ice. The helicopter shook and tilted. Then it buzzed forward through the blue sky. Annie aimed her camera out the window and took pictures. The Korean photographer did the same, and the Australian journalist scribbled in his notebook. Jack was too excited to take notes now. This is great, he thought. All the words in the rhyme are coming true. As they flew towards the burning mountain of ice and snow, he tried to remember what comes next. He slipped the rhyme out of his pocket. You must go to the burning mountain of ice and snow on wheels by air and then all fall down. All fall down. Wait a minute. What does that mean? Thought Jack. Does that mean the chopper falls down? Do we fall out of the chopper? As these thoughts swirled through Jack's mind, Annie turned and gave him a thumbs up. Jack didn't want to scare her, so he nodded and shoved the rhyme back in his pocket. He watched anxiously out the window as the chopper approached a bright orange-red circle on top of Mount Erebus. Below is one of the world's most famous lava lakes, said Nancy over the headphones. The chopper hovered motionless above the crater of the volcano. The lava lake bubbled and boiled. That burning lava is miles deep, said Nancy. Its temperature is over 1,700 degrees Fahrenheit. Can you guys go on this side see okay, Pete? Pete tilted the helicopter to one side and then the other. Everyone but Jack oohed and awed. Kim, Lee, and Annie took pictures. Go, thought Jack, before we all fall down. Okay, Pete, that's great, said Nancy. Let's land at the lower field camp now. The helicopter tilted upright and we began moving down the side of the volcanic mountain. Jack saw a group of orange buildings sticking up from the snow. Colorful snowmobiles were parked near it. Moments later, the chopper touched down on the slope. It rocked and shuddered and then came to a stop. Whew, thought Jack. They had landed, without falling from the sky, into the burning lava lake. But then what could all fall down in that rhyme mean? Stay seated till the blades come to a complete stop, said Nancy. Everyone remained in their seats with their seatbelts and headphones on. As you know, we'll be driving our snowmobiles up to the summit, said Nancy. Driving a snowmobile can be very dangerous on these steep, icy slopes. Please remember everything you learned in your snowmobile training yesterday. As the others nodded, Annie nodded too. Jack nudged her. They never had any training with snowmobiles. Another warning, said Nancy. I know you've also been trained this week to prevent altitude sickness, but still, it can be very dangerous. So please let me know if you feel any symptoms. Altitude sickness? Jack wondered. He pulled off his glove again and opened up his backpack. He took out the research book and looked up altitude sickness in the index. He turned to the right page and read, altitude sickness, also known as mountain sickness, is caused by lack of oxygen at great heights. Symptoms include headaches, dizziness, and shortness of breath. Climbers traveling up Mount Erebus train for days by climbing to gradually increasing heights. Oh no, thought Jack. The spinning of the helicopter blades had come to a stop. Okay, happy camper, said Nancy. All clear. Before we drive up to the top, we'll gather in the hut. Nancy opened the helicopter door. Everyone took off their headphones, undid their seatbelts, and followed her down the steps of the chopper. Jack was last as she struggled with putting the research book away, getting his glove back on, and then pulling his pack on his back. What took you so long? Annie asked when he got out of the chopper. Jack just shook his head. Have a safe trip back to the station, Pete, called Nancy. See you later. Pete waved from the window. Then the chopper blades started rotating again. The chopper lifted off the ground and thundered away.